don't think we're going to get Wolverine right away because we have Hugh Jackman. I think later, because they found adamantium, we're going to get Stryker developing in the MCU the Weapon X program. I think we're going to see that be lived out in our MCU. And we're going to see our MCU Wolverine way down the line, and we're going to kind of get a somewhat of an introduction again, a reintroduction of that origin story of our Stryker, our version of Stryker, MCU Stryker, going through the Weapon X program. And I think that's what we're going to get because they just discovered adamantium in our timeline. So there's got to be someone that's going to do something with that adamantium. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Side Project Podcast. My hand. Yes! Let's take a sip from our Run It Up mug. That's how I drink normally. It's just how I drink normally. You just have to deal with it. It's normal. Clearly. And you could drink just like that as well from the Run It Up mug or the Project Things mug or the Project Park mug or any of the other mugs that I've got up on the Side Project merch store. Available on the Side Project merch store. Nope, that is not it. Available, that is running back. Available on sideprojectpodcast.com. Remember, that's project with a K, where you can get, like I said, any of these mugs, any of the tees that you see me rocking, any of the hoodies or anything, all the tees and the tanks that we got up there. It's summertime, so you can get all different kinds of tanks that we got up there. I got the Side Project logo in a tank. I've got the I think I got the Run It Up is in a tank. I think I got the Project Gears that's in a tank. I can't remember, but it's on the screen. You'll see it. Side Project merch store, sideprojectpodcast.com. Go and get some if you want it, especially for the summertime. Get those tanks. I appreciate you. That's a heart. It's a heart falling down. I don't know why it's falling like that. I have no idea why I even ever did it like that, but that's what we're doing. Anyway, we're doing a little something different this episode, and we're gonna be inviting back two guests that have been on the show previously, respectively, to have a couple different discussions and just like, you know, a plain old good time. And we're gonna throw the regular format of the more so like interview-esque style episodes, you know, that everybody's used to. We're throwing that out the window because we've already done that with them in the past, and we may touch on a few things here and there at some point in the episode, cosplay-wise, but that's not the sole focus of this episode. So let's get into the bread and butter of this week's episode, because one of my guests this week is a cosplayer who's been on the show twice before already, a seamstress, a prop maker who creates nearly everything in every cosplay she puts forth, from Batgirls to Catwomen to various X-Men, from gaming like The Witcher or Mortal Kombat, and so much more. A guest, a judge, a panelist at cons published by various outlets, and my beautiful fiance. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and give a warm welcome back to Paper Moon Cosplay. Thank you for being here, baby. Thank you. I appreciate it. And our other guest this week, back for the second time, is a phenomenal cosplayer with knowledge heavy in gaming, heavy in comic book culture, and more, and showcasing that through his various cosplays as well. From mashing up the Halo universe with Marvel with the likes of his Hawkeye ODST, something unique and fresh, to the likes of The Punisher or Deadshot, from Cyclops to Agent Venom, and so much more. Everybody's lovable New Jersey Italian, appearing as a guest at cons, published in magazines. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's put our hands together and give a warm welcome back to the Googanator.
Peekaboo, what do you want to do?
I love it, dude. I love how every episode you've been on so far, you do like the rhyme scheme as your intro, dude. I dig that. I love it.
Oh, we're gonna keep it going.
You got it.
Without a shadow of a doubt, we're gonna keep it going.
I love it. You got anything you want to say since you know I didn't let you speak?
Third time's the charm.
Third time's the charm. Yeah, you've been on three times, man. 3 times. I appreciate you guys being here. We are pre-recording this episode, so if at any time there's a moment, because we might talk about something like, for instance, maybe Superman or something like that. At the time of this recording, Superman's obviously not out. By the time that you're watching this, Superman has come out, and we'll get to why I mentioned that later in the episode. I'll probably mention it again, but just to let you know. So yeah, man, I want a very long time ago, I did a solo episode where a portion of the episode I laid out an idea for an X-Men MMORPG, a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, something akin to like World of Warcraft or Elder Scrolls, or obviously with what I'm going to lay out here, DC Universe Online would be a great example too. where you have factions, and in the case of our examples, to simplify it, I'm gonna use WoW, where you have two factions, the Horde and the Alliance. But in this case, of course, with the X-Men, it would be something like the Brotherhood or the X-Men themselves. And I elaborated on it in pretty good detail during this episode years ago, but it was a long time ago, like I said. And I've always wanted to bring this idea back and discuss it with others too, to get like feedback and maybe others' ideas, whether it be exactly like this MMORPG idea I have, or if somebody else has some awesome ideas as well. So I'm going to kind of lay it out. Bear with me. It's a little long, but I'm going to kind of lay out my idea, and then we'll kick it off to you guys and see what you guys have to say. So an X-Men MMORPG, or even if it's not precisely an MMORPG, that's fine. But for my example, I'm going to lay it out that way. Two factions, the Brotherhood, the X-Men. You create your own character, which in essence would be creating a mutant, right? So you pre-select, of course, which when you create your character, which faction you align yourself with. You create a character, and you got to have classes, you got to have abilities and things like that, right? So let's say you create, when you create your character, you need DPS classes, you need melee, you need ranged, you need tank classes, you need healer classes, right? Let's all keep that in mind. So let's say you choose a character that is labeled as a ranged DPS nature type character, right? So maybe that's like labeled as a caster, if you will. You have talent trees that you can follow, and in those trees, you have something like maybe an ice class and then like a weather manipulation, right? So if you choose ice, then you're obviously going to be something resembling Iceman. If you choose weather, it's going to be something resembling someone like Storm, for instance, right? And then maybe you're mentored by those characters, since you're kind of in their realm as far as your abilities go. Your class and your abilities are also kind of connected to a mentor, to an X-Men, or to someone on the Brotherhood if you're on the Brotherhood. And then you kind of like level up as you go, and let's call it maybe like leveling up your X gene, right? Maybe you're unlocking your abilities and your powers, your mutant powers even more. So you go to the Xavier Institute, you train, and you're not going to exactly be like Iceman and be like Storm. You're going to develop your own abilities. You're going to be similar, but you're going to be different. Like Iceman shoots, ice out of his hands, but maybe you shoot the ice out of your nipples. You know what I mean? So like your nickname is like Ice Nips, you never know. So you create a tank character, right? Maybe you're mentored by someone like Colossus or Juggernaut if it's on the Brotherhood. But then there's the question of like something like Wolverine. And I think Googs will have like some, maybe he'll have, I don't know, some ideas about this, but like, where do you go with someone like Wolverine when it comes to my idea, right? Because he was altered by the Weapon X program. He wasn't just born with the adamantium, right? So if you create a character that's similar to someone like Wolverine, do you start with bone claws? For instance, do you start with the adamantium? I think it would be a good idea story-wise if maybe you saw your character go through the Weapon X program, but maybe for different reasons than like Wolverine did, or, whomever else did. I think that would be a cool way. And then maybe you come across in your storyline, you come across Wolverine and he connects with you, but still kind of like in a dickish Wolverine way, you know what I mean? And he connects with you because you went through the Weapon X program like he did, you know what I mean? And that's your character's storyline. I'm thinking like battles with Sinister, Apocalypse, PvP with the X-Men versus the Brotherhood, you do like dungeons as well, and like raids and everything. And there's so many cool things that could be done in the gaming world with a larger scale a mutant of your own X-Men style game. And I don't know why they haven't done this yet. I want to know if you guys have any ideas to elaborate on further, whether it be like my exact style MMORPG, or even just elaborating on something that you would do with an X-Men game in general. And I guess we'll go ladies first. I think it's just the right, respectful thing to do.
First of all, I'm not as good as a gamer like as you guys. But just a question that's just, I was just thinking about. What do you do with healers? Because if I'm not mistaken, all the healers in the X-Men are also the fighters. Like, they're not healers like healing someone else, but they have healing abilities like Wolverine and Deadpool. How is it going to work? Who's going to be the healer?
Well, you still have, on that subject right there, you still have, like, for instance, I'm going to use World of Warcraft a lot for my example because I've been playing World of Warcraft since 2006. But again, you could think of DC Universe Online. You could think of Elder Scrolls Online. There's other ones I can't think of right now as well. But there are characters like who aren't necessarily healers, and they still have like healing abilities where they can heal themselves. But it's not as prominent and focused on as if you were a dedicated healer class. But I get what you're saying though. Like the X-Men are kind of different. Like it's not like World of Warcraft where you kind of have a dedicated healer. Like Googs, I can't think of a dedicated healer. I guess we can use Marvel Rivals as a semi-example
Actually,
too.
Something I was going to throw into the ring was Star Wars: The Old Republic, because that too is an is an MMORPG, and I'm thinking, oh, dude, I want to be the dude with the biggest freaking gun. And then on pure accident, when it was like my first time playing, I chose the healer role, and I go, man, this is whack. And I go, all right, maybe I'm kind of feeling this a little bit, because it kind of depends on like who you pick.
Yeah.
You know, and it kind of depends on how you want to customize your own character with the style you play and how you're going to play it. Because if I'm not mistaken, I know like there's several different types of games where you have healers. You got DC Universe Online, Star Wars: The Old Republic, World of Warcraft, which I've never played. And I've played DC Universe Online with the wild man himself, super amazing _23.
Yeah.
He's always bossing me around, dude. It's crazy. He's always bossing me around. Nah, do that.
What do you play in DC Universe Online? Like your character?
So my powers are that of Green Lantern, and I'm kind of the dude who just recharges everybody's mana or energy in this case.
So kind of like a support character in a way.
Yes, and I'm also kind of like crowd control in a sense.
Yeah.
But Mark is also like, he's like, man, I see you. You always want to do DPS. I'm like, bro, I play my supports different.
Yeah. So I get okay, and then I'm thinking like Marvel Rivals too, to elaborate further, because like Tahir said, she's not huge into gaming, and I mean I'll let you speak because I know you wrote some notes down, so I won't spoil what you want to say, but she's not as huge into gaming as some people. Like she's more like focused on the games that she likes and stays in that realm. You know what I mean? So when it comes to like
totally fine.
Kind of what we're talking about with whether it be MMORPG or even something like a shooter like with Marvel Rivals, she's not as knowledgeable on it other than watching me play it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I actually strayed away from Marvel Rivals because I got back into World of Warcraft, and it takes up my life. But Marvel Rivals, for instance, I can't remember all of them, but like Groot's a tank. No, Groot's a tank.
Groot is a tank.
Jeff the Shark is a healer.
Sue, right?
Cloak and
Invisible
Dagger
Woman
is a healer too, right?
Yeah.
Aren't they a combo though, right?
Yeah, they're kind of a mix of damage and healing.
Yeah, and you can switch back and forth.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then is Sue Storm? I know she's in the game, but I haven't.
Healer.
She's a healer. I haven't played since she came out, so she's a healer.
She's definitely a healer. Oh yeah, I made her as a healer anyway. She's my go-to.
Nice. Who are the other healers? I'm drawing a blank right now. I can't remember.
Loki, no?
Oh, Loki's
Mantis,
a healer. Yeah.
Yes, Mantis, Loki.
See, I'm going to use that as a great example. Like Loki is a healer.
Ultron. Oh my God, Ultron's a healer too, dude.
Really?
No way. Is Ultron a healer?
Yes,
Oh
Ultron's a healer.
I don't remember that. Oh wow. That is strange. Okay, so like Ultron and Loki are great examples of like you wouldn't expect them to be healers, and they're healers. So I guess for certain situations like that with some sort of MMORPG style X-Men game, that kind of concept would apply. There's just going to end up being class types that you may not really expect that would end up being healers or support. But I know before we let Googs elaborate a little bit more, I know you talked to me about some stuff that like Scarlet Witch and whatnot.
Yes, like if you do a game like you were started talking about, like you have a character, you decide you want to be in the Brotherhood, you want to be on the X-Men, like the bad versus the good ones. And then what do you do with characters like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver? Because if I'm not mistaken, most of the time they were on the Brotherhood, but during the Marvel movies cinematic universe, they made them the good guys. So we know them as the good guys most of the time. But where do you put them? Do you even can you decide which character you want to be and where you want to place them? Like, can I decide I want to be Storm, but Storm to be my mentor, but in the Brotherhood? Like, can I mix that?
Gotcha. Okay. See, in my thought process for how I was, designing the game, I was thinking, again, like I said, I'm a huge World of Warcraft fan, so a lot of my inspiration comes from World of Warcraft and a little bit from DC Universe Online too. I was thinking you have the Brotherhood, you have the X-Men, you have certain classes and whatnot that are stuck to those factions. Like that's where you're at. In World of Warcraft, they have something called a hero class, such as a class called a Death Knight, right? And Death Knights start differently than these other classes. And they can choose which side to go to, right? In my mind, maybe they would kind of take inspiration from something like how World of Warcraft did that, where you do have certain characters that lore-wise have been on both factions in the comics, so you can't really label them as one or the other. So maybe it goes kind of like with your storyline, so if you choose to be Scarlet Witch and you go with the Brotherhood, then that's like that comic run. You know what I mean? Where what is like is it House of M or something? I think is one of the
Yep.
is that one of the storylines, right? I think
House of
you know
M.
I don't know something
Yeah,
like that.
where even the Avengers think that they're mutants, but they're actually not because Pietro did some dumb stuff, lied to Wanda,
Yeah.
and then Wanda's like, "Hey, no more mutants."
Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's something like that. And maybe it's like, for instance, maybe Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, they're not in the game at launch. Like that's something that comes like a year or two later with DLCs or like expansions.
Yeah,
and
expansions.
yeah, you know what I mean? To progress the longevity of the game. And they introduce this new, again, the terminology in World of Warcraft is a hero class. They introduce that and like everybody's hyped. Oh man, Scarlet Witch is coming. You can choose like, which storyline you want to partake in and stuff like that. But that's just my thought process. But
I'm not playing those kind of games usually. I play I don't know the terminology of the gaming world.
Okay.
I play games where they have like plot, like The Witcher, like Resident Evil,
Okay.
when you have like cutscenes and you have like a plot that leads you somewhere.
yeah, more like The Witcher, like God of War,
Okay, like
Insomniac,
story-driven games.
Spider-Man, like
Yeah.
more single player story-driven games. Yeah.
And that's totally fine because if I remember correctly, in Resident Evil Raccoon City, which was like a 4-player co-op game, you had like a healer, you had like a support, you had like a
Oh, I
trap,
never
and you
played
had
that
like
one.
an assault. Oh yeah, dude. Well, listen, it ended up being a really bad game.
Oh, okay,
But-
all right. Maybe that's why I never played it.
Yeah, dude, it was trash. But one thing I did take away is that they did try with that mechanic. It ended up flopping very hard onto the floor, and it didn't do very well. And no, it's seriously, I'm telling you, it didn't do very good, but it was okay for its time. So they did the support, the trap, the assault, and the medic.
Yeah.
You just had to pick and choose your classes wisely.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I feel like a game of X-Men would be better fit for these kind of games because there's so many plots. I would love to see a game where they lead you somewhere like plot-wise with a game, not just shooting people and like.
Would you want it to be like kind of on par with like Insomniac's Spider-Man where you're playing as Spider-Man and then Insomniac's also doing the Wolverine game. You know about that one, right, Gooks? That they're going to be doing
Yeah,
that.
dude,
It's like what you're
yeah.
saying they are going to end up doing, but you're playing as Wolverine. You're playing as Spider-Man. Like, would you want to play like a Scarlet Witch game where you're playing as Scarlet Witch, or do you still want to be able to create your own mutant?
I think you can make your own music, like in Hogwarts Legacy. I mean, you make your own wizard and you play as the wizard, but there is a plot around
And
it
you're
with
in the
the
Harry
universe.
Potter universe.
Yes.
Okay, I get you. That would be f***ing dope. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
That would be cool too. It doesn't have to be like MMORPG style. Like that would be dope as hell. I would dig that too.
It'd also be like a kind of like a Star Wars Jedi Academy where you make your own
Yeah.
Jedi, you
Yeah.
go through the training and automatically because Luke Skywalker and this character who I never even heard of, Kyle Katarn, is like your mentor.
Yeah.
And then you have a decision whether you want to go through the dark side or you want to be the light side. So
Yeah.
That's
Okay, yeah.
pretty much the same then.
Yeah, okay. That works too.
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to elaborate on, man?
I feel like the MMO concept would be really, really cool for the X-Men. Like you could add so many more like stories, plots, and
Yeah.
characters. I was gonna say like you could even get crazy with it and even add 4 factions if you want to. Like
Ooh.
now hear me out. The X-Men, Brotherhood of Mutants, Weapon X program, and maybe
Ooh.
the Roxxon Corporation.
Wow, dude. Okay,
That's interesting.
really
Think about it.
Yeah, doing something different. That's what I want from. I mean, just gaming in general. Like that's what I want. Something different. You know what I mean? Like I like what Again, I'm going to mention a lot of the things I love. Of course, it's going to be repeated. Like I like what Insomniac did with the Spider-Man games. You know what I mean? I'm curious to
absolutely.
see where they go with the Wolverine game. I like what I don't remember who made Marvel Rivals, but I like where they went with Marvel Rivals in it. I know it was kind of like conceptually the same as Overwatch, and I was a big Overwatch fan, but
Yeah.
I like what they did. I think we need that, and especially in a time where superhero content is so huge, I feel like the gaming industry has somewhat, but also somewhat not, fallen behind. Like DC has had like the Batman
Slightly.
games, slightly, right? Like they've had the Batman games, the Arkham games have always done great. DC was actually a little bit ahead of the curve, to be honest with you, with DC Universe Online. You know what I mean? But like even that, for instance, I think they could do an updated version of DC Universe Online and have it be wildly successful if they did it right. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Like
like
they
at a time-
updated and remade everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
like
it would take a lot of time, but I feel like it'd be worth it.
Right, but I think it's something that Marvel should do. Like, even if it's not an X-Men dedicated MMORPG, I got to tell you, like, I think a Marvel in general dedicated MMORPG was obviously probably the,
Oh my goodness,
the better
dude!
way to go.
Have you ever heard of Marvel Heroes Online or Marvel Heroes Omega?
I feel like I have, but I never played it though.
So you can play as that hero. Like let's say if I wanted to play as Daredevil, I could play as Daredevil and just unlock abilities through his skill tree.
Nice.
And if I want to play as Captain America, same thing. Cable. They were going to add Winter Soldier at one point, and they did. They had an Iron Fist, and they even had like healers and tanks.
Nice.
Like
Okay.
Hulk and Thing were the tanks. Captain America and Scarlet Witch were the supports.
Yeah, okay.
And Spider-Man and Iron Fist were basically the damage. But they were like all the heroes were unlocked through X-Men, Guardians, and whoever else. Like I'm telling you, dude, it was sick.
That would like I know I went with X-Men just because I thought it would be really weird and kind of cool to create your own mutant. But I mean, I think the money is on like Marvel as a whole. You know what I mean? Like characters as a whole is where the money is. You know, and you could even like you could release things in waves like they always do with any games, you know? So if it's like a full-blown Marvel type game, like you said, maybe you only got 2 factions starting, but maybe like 3 years in, you open up another faction. And throughout those 3 years, you introduce more characters and storylines and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They could really build upon it. And I think that there is definitely, specifically again, for my example, I think there is an MMORPG void when it comes to whether it be Marvel or DC. You know what I mean? Like people still play DC Universe Online. You guys do. I have over the course of time as well. Not recently, but I have over the course of time. I've gone back to it, you know? But I think
we gotta get you in. We have to get you in with Mark.
Yeah, I gotta jump back in.
You gotta get in with Mark, bro. Yeah. It's actually fun. It's actual fun.
I think to wrap up the gaming portion of this talk is I think there's a void with that area of gaming, and I think that some game companies should capitalize on that because I think there's a lot of money to be made. You know, because
as of right now, the fighting game side of things is actually going crazy because
the new Marvel one coming up.
Yeah, dude, the Marvel Tolkien Fighting Soul.
Yes, yeah.
Iron Man looks like a Gundam. Captain America looks sick.
Yeah.
Doom's got the blicky. Like it looks insane.
Yeah. The fighting games, they've always got a hold on that. Marvel Rivals now, they got a hold on that. DC's always got a hold on like more of the Batman games and stuff. And then Insomniac's got a hold on the single player driven stuff for Marvel. But I think there's an MMORPG void. And I think that somebody out there should fill it. Since we're talking about like the X-Men and gaming and stuff, I think it's only right that we talk a little bit about like the X-Men and the MCU real quick, man, because it's started to be hinted at even more some than just hints. They showcased Beast. They discussed adamantium. They made Miss Marvel a mutant when she's originally an Inhuman. I still don't understand that decision, but
neither do I.
I don't get it. And then they outright have Deadpool in the MCU now, and he's a mutant. They outright have Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in the MCU now, and he's a mutant. Gambit and others. Where is this going? You know what I mean? Like, where's it going to go? Are you satisfied with what it has been thus far? What do you like? What don't you like? What do you want to see? How would you do it if you were in charge? Should the X-Men have solo movies? Should they have just a group movie? Should they have movies and series on D+? What are your thoughts, Googs? We'll let you go first on this one.
All right, so I think that with the X-Men coming back, and I like to think of this as them getting the quote-unquote Fantastic Four treatment, as I like to call it. Okay. With the Fantastic Four coming into the main MCU storyline, I'm just a little pissed off that there's no original heroes to kind of like welcome them back. Like Iron Man's dead, Captain America's dead.
Agreed.
Spider-Man's not going to know who the hell these people are because in the original Marvel storyline, everybody knew who the Fantastic Four was. Tony Stark in the animated shows, Spider-Man in his own solo animated show, Captain America for the time being, and you don't have your classic heroes to introduce them because in the upcoming movie, either Doomsday or Secret Wars, I forget which one they announced it, that Spider-Man will be a part of. Spider-Man's going to be doing his own thing with Punisher in Spider-Man 4, right? Correct? Yeah. Spider-Man 4 that just recently got announced?
Yeah.
Oh
rumored,
my.
Rumored, but it there's some validity to it. So who knows? Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's going to be happening at the same damn time. So it's going to be hard to pinpoint what goes on.
Yeah.
So I like to think of it as maybe give the X-Men their own time to shine for a little bit before introducing all the other heroes and all the other people into their storyline. It was cool because I was just watching a video on X-Men Legends 2, and Apocalypse just kind of imprisoned Tony Stark, and he's like, you know what? You're the smartest man ever. You're a threat to me. locking you away.
Yeah.
And then you had to go around and find Iron Man's armor to give back to him and be like, hey, we need your help to fight against Apocalypse. Tony Stark, done deal. I'm in.
Yeah.
So, I just think that would be really, really cool. But again, that's not going to happen. So I say give the X-Men their time to shine. They deserved it. They've earned it. We've waited this long.
Yeah.
I would like to see Channing Tatum come back.
Same. Agree.
I don't care what anybody says. I really
agree.
want to see Channing come back.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm with you.
Yeah, he should be our Gambit, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now who should be our rogue?
Uh-oh.
Hillary Duff.
Hillary
Duff.
Bring her back, man. She deserves a comeback.
Hillary Duff.
She deserves a comeback, man. She deserves a comeback.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
As soon as someone told me, like, oh yeah, Hillary Duff should be rogue,
I haven't
and
heard
I'm just
that one.
like,
I haven't heard that one yet.
mommy Duff.
What are your thoughts on the X-Men?
I just want to comment on what Goog said, because it is true that we kind of lost all the characters that we all know from the Avengers, but they kind of played it as if, they introduced Beast in another universe, so you can't know who they have there. Maybe they have
the
their
multiverse
Avengers
situation is getting confusing when it comes to the X-Men,
Agreed.
there. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know who's coming from where anymore. You know what I mean? It's getting confusing.
If we already talked about the Inhumans, I mean I think it's a shame they scrapped all that from Marvel of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that, because I really love that storyline with the Inhumans. They also have the TV show of the Inhumans, about the Inhumans with Medusa and everyone. It was awesome. It's a shame they didn't do anything with it. But they're trying, right now. And I think it was a good build-up to bring back, X-Men 97, to get the old fans back to it and get new fans into it. And I think now we are it's a good time to introduce the X-Men. It's a question on how you do it, because it has to be perfect, or
right now
many people are going to be mad.
Because right now it's a little all over the place. Like we just said, like with the multiverse, like people we got different X-Men coming from different multiverses. Like what's the outcome of that going to be? Are we going to take all these different X-Men that they've kind of introduced from different multiverses, and then in our regular timeline, are we going to just kind of mold them all together, and that's going to become our X-Men? You know what I mean? Like,
I sure as hell hope not.
Like, are we going to have Kelsey Grammer's Beast be our Beast again? Are we going to, and then Channing Tatum's Gambit's going to be our Gambit? And then how long does Hugh Jackman really have? Despite the whole doing this until he's 90 thing, like legitimately, really, jokes aside, like how long does Hugh Jackman really have left as Wolverine? And as I love him as Wolverine, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying anything bad about it, but I'm just being realistic with the time frame that these movies take to make. How long does he have left to get his body in shape? And yeah, people could say, CGI, they can make him look buffer, make him look better. He's also got the skin cancer. He can't do the sleeveless stuff for very long. Yeah. There's a lot going on there with Hugh Jackman, and his age, of course, too. So also, what are we doing with Hugh Jackman? Like, do you guys want Hugh Jackman to continue? Do you want a new Wolverine?
And I'm sure they will bring him back. But
I think he'll be back for a little while. But I kind of feel like he might not be the original, I guess the new Wolverine.
If they introduce an X-Men, right now, they have to start with young actors and new actors if they want to build a universe for the long run and not something for one movie.
Yeah.
So they have to introduce us to new characters. Maybe they'll play on the multiverse thing again. They bring some old characters back and new actors back to play the same character. But I would personally love to see new X-Men that we didn't see it.
So do you want, I know you just said it kind of, but do you want an amalgamation then of some old but more new, or do you want all new? And then the same thing for you too.
I would love to see new X-Men. I would love to see some of them come back, but I don't want them to play on the nostalgia as they did in Deadpool, because that was too much for me. The whole movie was about, bringing old characters back.
Yeah, she didn't like Deadpool and Wolverine, bro.
I didn't like Deadpool, man.
I know. Crazy,
the
right?
whole movie was about showing
Yeah.
you characters that you grew upon, saw them in all the other movies. It was awesome. I loved it, but
You don't want that moving forward.
it doesn't hold. You need to have a plot. You need to have something else than just show me
Nostalgia.
nostalgia, yeah. I loved seeing all these people.
Same question for you. One, what do you want to do with Wolverine? And then, do you want an amalgamation of old characters and new characters, or do you want them to eventually phase out the old characters and bring in all new characters new actors? To play the X-Men.
So here's what I think, right? I think you should give Hugh Jackman's Wolverine the Tony Stark treatment, where we finally have him back. We're super happy we have him back, but I think it should get to a point where in Doomsday, where like in the comics, where Spider-Man tries to stop him from using the Phoenix Bullet on Planet Doom. I think that should happen to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and then that should be like his sacrificial send-off. Like, you know what? I made it back. I was in a couple movies. I got to see all this happen, and then throughout like the multiverse, they should try to find an amalgamation that'll fit the description of the Wolverine we have now, but just like much later on. So as soon as he uses the Phoenix Bullet, he just kind of disintegrates and gets. And he just, that's it. No more Hugh Jackman Wolverine. It's done. Yeah. It's officially done.
Use X-23 instead,
Yeah, I saw a lot of people saying like, maybe we don't, which is a controversial statement, but I understand it. Maybe we don't get a new Wolverine after Hugh Jackman. We get X-23. And that's the MCU's, quote unquote Wolverine in a sense. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't mind X-23. Listen, if she's a good fit to be the Wolverine for a little bit until we can bring back her quote unquote father figure, then listen, I'm all for it. I don't care. I'm not hating on her or nothing.
When it comes to Wolverine, this is what I think is going to happen. Doomsday and also Secret Wars, but Doomsday, I think a lot of people are going to die. They're bringing back, I can't remember her name, but she plays the actress who plays Jean Grey in the Fox X-Men.
I forgot her name.
She's coming back too. A lot of people are coming back. I think all the
James
Fox
Marsden,
X-Men,
baby.
Yeah, I think all the Fox X-Men, I think they're going to die. And if Hugh Jackman's Wolverine doesn't die in Doomsday, I have a feeling he's going to die in Secret Wars. That's what I think is going to happen. They're going to give him that awesome send-off. I think a lot of people are going to die, also from even our current lineup, our current universe, but multiverse people, I think a lot of them are going to die. I do think that Disney is going to keep some sort of mixture of old and new. But I do think it's going to be more new than it is going to be old. That's my guess. Then when it comes to Wolverine, I think what they're setting up here, they found adamantium in our current timeline, right? So what I think is happening is at some point in time down the line, I'm talking few years probably, they're gonna start introducing all the X-Men. That's clear as day. We're in the X-Men saga. What's his name? Even Kevin Feige even said it. It's happening. You know what I mean? You're watching it unfold. X-Men are going to be introduced. I don't think we're going to get Wolverine right away because we have Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's going to die. I still don't think we're going to get Wolverine right away. I think later, because they found adamantium, we're going to get Stryker developing in the MCU the Weapon X program. I think we're going to see that be lived out in our MCU. And we're going to see our MCU Wolverine way down the line, and we're going to kind of get somewhat of an introduction again, a reintroduction of that origin story of our Stryker, our version of Stryker, MCU Stryker, going through the Weapon X program. And I think that's what we're going to get because they just discovered adamantium in our timeline. So there's got to be someone that's going to do something with that adamantium because they
in Captain America 4, with Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't even see the whole thing, but I saw that part.
Listen, I'll give it this much. I felt like it could have been done better. Captain America 4. No discredit to Anthony Mackie. All I got to say is they did a very good job of not getting political with it, and that's something I'm very big about.
I thought it was like a super politically driven movie. I mean,
I'm gonna be very honest. They did politics aside, I didn't see anything that politically stuck out, which I was very happy about.
I just thought so because it was like the president, the White House. So I was this is clearly going to be a very political movie. You know what I mean?
And it surprisingly was not, and I'm very, very satisfied with it. So off bat, it gets an 8 out of 10 from me. But back to X-Men, I don't mind seeing. I feel like they did First Class very well.
Yeah.
But then again, they're doing away with Fox.
Yeah.
So if we have to get a revamped version of First Class or a revamped version of the old X-Men cartoon, but live action, I'm all for it. But if they're going to get different actors, make it count.
Yeah, 100%.
Make it count.
The X-Men are so beloved. And like you said earlier, we lost Tony Stark. We don't got Cap anymore. It doesn't look like they're going to even do anything with Ant-Man, for instance. You know what I mean? Just anybody in our core first 10 to 12 years, they're pretty much gone, And then Spider-Man's only got so long left before they introduce Miles, and Miles takes up that, Tom Holland's place. All that's going to happen. So the X-Men, 100%, you got to make them count. You know what I mean? You got to make them count.
Make it count, man.
I'm curious to know what everybody wants to. So write down in the comments, or even if there's a clip on Instagram or whatever, write down what your thoughts, man. I'm curious to see from the gaming for the X-Men to to the movies for the X-Men too, because it's everybody loves the X-Men on varying levels, man. So I'm curious to know. But let's break up the monotony and let's get into this week's cosplay of the week. Oh, and this week's cosplay of the week is none other than, it's a long time coming, Moonberry Pie.
Let's go.
And I'm throwing it up on the screen right about. She's like, oh my god, bow! And that was me now, and that was me doing some storm effects, and people were yelling because it's like a sunny day, and all of a sudden it's storm everywhere. I don't need to explain storm. You guys know this is of her storm, and this is absolutely phenomenal. Mixed light photo on the light there, doing an amazing job. I'm a huge fan of Mixed Light's photos. Completely phenomenal, everything that he does, and just her cosplay in general is also phenomenal. And obviously, one of the takeaways here is that it's kind of it's the zombified version of her storm that she's got going on here. She also has like the white version on her Instagram as well, the white clothed version of the
classic
original,
storm.
the classic. There we go, the classic storm. And then she's got the black suit version, but she's zombified. I think this was for a Marvel zombie shoot that everybody did.
Zombie versus
Yeah, there was like a Marvel Zombies versus DC Vampires. Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. And in case you're watching this just as a clip on Instagram and you didn't tune into the full episode, we have back for the third time Paper Moon cosplay, and back for the second time the Googanator. And we're doing something a little bit. We're doing something a little bit different this episode. It's not the interview style episode. They're back. We're just having conversations. We're talking about X-Men in gaming. We're talking about X-Men in film. We're talking about DC, Superman, and whatever else we end up having conversations about. So tune into the full episode if that sounds like something you want to tune into. This is amazing, Moonberry. This is phenomenal. I love it. I love everything about it. There's several photos of your zombified version of Storm, and they're all equally amazing. And then Mixed Light photo, like I said, phenomenal photo with the shot, the door, the brick, the cinder brick, the cinder block wall. It looks like all the blood going around. You have different edits that you've done as well. You can go to her Instagram. You can see all the different edits. Everything about it is just from head to toe. It's awesome. You make an amazing Storm. And I want to throw up a second photo here, and I'm throwing it up on the screen right about the Candyman can. Now,
Yeah, my ears.
You like it, don't lie. Candyman, obviously, gender bend version of Candyman. You got the bees coming out of the mouth, and Brian Cox photography on the photos. Brian Cox photography on the photos there. Brian is also a previous guest on the show. Phenomenal, just perfect. I want to do my best to try to start featuring like I'm a huge horror fan. I know you're not as big of a horror fan as I am. Googs, are you a horror fan?
I can take it or leave it, honestly. I can take it or leave it.
And what is going on in this community?
It's just there for me, man. It's just
this community, man. Like, I feel like I've done horror episodes in the past, and I'm like, they're not performing as well as I would have liked. You know what I mean? It's like, what's going on, you guys?
Well, maybe if Michael Myers in Call of Duty Ghosts didn't kill me so much, I wouldn't have a problem with horror.
And that's a whole other thing. Why are they making Call of Duty like Fortnite? I got a question.
Oh my God.
I got a question. Somebody. We're just hijacking Moonberry's segment here. We're sorry.
I'm sorry, Tina.
Candyman, this is amazing. I love everything about it. Accurate, the clothing is accurate. You got the crowbar there, the bees coming out and all of that. You can see the kind of like the bee, like the hive thing going on your skin. And I got questions. You know what I mean? Is it an edit? Were they props? Is it makeup, prosthetics? Did you have bees there and you trained them? I don't know. Let me know. I'm curious. I want to know.
I saw her in her stories. She was like that prosthetic on her face.
The bees too?
Yeah, the bees too. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Crazy, man.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Phenomenal job.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw the bees on that post, I nearly vomited. I'm like, no.
I know, it's so gross. You guys, you got anything? Ladies first. You got anything that you want to say about Moonberry's cosplays of the week?
Well, we first met her at MegaCon. Mm-hmm. Amazing cosplayer,
in
really
person,
nice.
Yeah,
in person, really nice, a nice girl. Ever since then, I started following her. Amazing cosplays. Really love what she's doing.
I followed her before that, but whatever. We're not bragging or anything.
Anyways. Saw her cosplay. She's making amazing stuff, out of the box stuff.
Yeah.
Really interesting to see.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, 100%. Googs, got anything left?
So when I first met Tina, I met her at a Marvel vs. Capcom shoot. I saw her Storm, and I'm like, wow, like she really knocked it out the park with the classic Storm look from the TV show. And then I also saw that she did Elektra, Starfire.
Yeah.
Who else? And then I saw the zombified Storm, and I'm thinking, okay, because I saw like the number of followers, and I go, something's not adding up. She's got talent. We need to get these numbers up real fast.
Deserves more, 100%.
And I do hope that this video helps out Tina.
Me too.
You're awesome, and I can't wait for Cosplay World Richmond.
Yes, 100%. Because like we said, again, if you're seeing this just as a clip on Instagram, we are pre-recording this episode, so it'll come out when we're already have gone to Cosplay World. But as of this recording, we haven't gone yet. But if you're not following, ladies and gentlemen, Moonberry Pie, and that's Berry with an IE at the end of it, please go do so right now, because Moonberry Pie, your Storm and Candyman cosplay of the week for me, Paper Moon Cosplay, and the Googanator is amazing. We're going to get into something that I like to call, or something that I like to call. Wow, shotgun questions. What shotgun questions is a little bit more of a rapid fire segment that never ends up being that rapid fire. We always end up having a conversation about it, and that's okay. That's kind of the irony of it. And usually, it's a segment where I do not prep the guests for it ahead of time. Unless you watch the show, then you kind of may get an idea. But they go in blind. They don't know the questions that I'm going to ask them. But Googs and Paper Moon Cosplay have been here before, and I've already done a shotgun questions with them. So we're going to kind of switch up the format. And what's going to happen here is Paper Moon's going to start. She's going to ask me a shotgun question. Googs, do you have a shotgun question to ask me or no? It's okay if not. And then I'm going to ask both of them the same question and they'll answer. So we're switching it up a little bit. So go ahead, baby.
Okay, let's do the question that you usually do. I don't think you ever answered this one. You have to build a team of 6 characters to fight off a threat on Earth. This could be a team that is comprised of superheroes or villains across the Marvel Universe, DC, or any other comic-based company. Mm-hmm. This could also be mixed with gaming characters or any other form of pop culture. You have to build a team of 6 characters to fight off a threat on Earth. Who are your 6?
Okay, so I ask all these like questions and these hard questions, and I do the project polls on Instagram and everything, and I try to make them interesting and sometimes difficult to choose. And I myself I'm the worst to be on the other side of these things because I am indecisive as all hell.
The turns have tabled, buddy.
I have such a difficult time. And then sometimes it's not the indecisive part, it's the trouble, like I'll have too many answers. And I have trouble, I guess it's still being indecisive because I have trouble deciding. So anyway, let's see if I can do this. I'm gonna start with one of my all-time favorites, the first comic book character that I actually ever ended up being introduced to, which is weird because most people it's Batman and Superman or Spider-Man, but for me it was Wolverine. And I'm going with Wolverine on number 1. I'm going to throw in Silver Surfer in there because I don't think anybody has ever picked him, and I don't know why. One of my favorites as well. I'm going to go Ermac from Mortal Kombat because I want some telekinesis stuff in there, and the fact that he's more than one. We are many, you are but one. I'm going to go Scarlet Witch because she's also one of my favorites of all time. I got to switch it up. Throw some DC in there though. Martian Manhunter. All right,
another good one.
And Constantine is my 6th because he can raise the dead and do different things and bring people and, you know what I mean? Like bring other, so it's like you get Constantine and he may just be a human, but he's able to do all these crazy spells and mess with the dead and call upon people. So you're definitely probably getting an army of like dead people when you're messing with Constantine. You know what I mean? You can probably like do different things. And so I think that's a pretty good 6.
Him and Wanda together is going to be.
Yeah. Him and Wanda alone is like a force to be reckoned with. You know what I mean? So I think that's a
problem.
And I'm telling that list will change. If we do this again later, another time, and you ask me, I'm sure that list will be different. Because I also want to throw in Venom. You know what I mean? Venom. I want to put Venom in there. Darkseid and Thanos are on my list. Like, come on, the list goes on. You know, I would choose a lot of different people. All right, quick question for you. We are running short on time. Both of you guys, shotgun question. Lastly, here. If you could pick one character or storyline to tell in film across any pop culture related avenue, gaming, superheroes, anything, which character or story is something that you'd love to see depicted, adapted into film or even a series format? What's something that you want to see on the big screen? Whoever wants to.
You really want to know my answer?
Yeah, go ahead, Googs. You go first.
I don't have any Halo props. Halo.
Okay, you want to see it done right because we had that conversation on the episode, you and I. Okay, that's a good one. Halo, done right. Do you want to see it in a series format or do you want to see it in film?
I want to see it done in a series first and then movie.
Okay, cool. What do you
see if they learn from their mistakes.
Yeah.
I would love to see the JSA finally.
The Justice League, the Justice Society of America. You want to see them?
I mean, they hinted them a little bit with the Stargirl TV
Yeah.
show, the Young Generation. They hinted it again in, was it Shazam 2?
Black Adam.
Black Adam.
Yeah.
I finally want to see the original JSA.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool as hell. I like that. Adam is one of my favorites. That's his name. Adam Smasher. Adam.
Yeah.
There's two of them. There's Adam and then there's Adam Smasher. Aren't they two different people?
There's
Yeah,
the
they're
Adam
different
and then
characters.
Adam Smasher, I think.
Adam
Yeah,
Smasher.
different
Which one was in
characters.
Black Adam? Now I don't remember.
Adam Smasher.
Adam
Adam
It was Adam
Smasher.
Smasher, right? I actually
Yes,
liked
yes.
his suit, even though it was pretty much just a Deadpool.
was like a
just
Deadpool suit.
Yeah. It's basically just a Deadpool suit. So anyway, yeah, that was a weird amalgamation of shotgun questions. To round this episode out, I want to talk a little bit about some DCU talk and some Superman predictions, because like I said earlier, and a few times, we're pre-recording this episode. Superman has not come out for us right now in real time. By the time you guys see this, Superman will have already come out, and we may or may not have already seen it. We're not going to have time, at least this coming weekend, because we're going to be busy, so we'll probably end up seeing it after. So I got to ask you guys, let's start with, what do you like and don't you like from the trailers that you've seen of this Superman? What do you want? Kind of like how I asked you guys with the X-Men question, kind of the same thing. Like, what do you like so far from the trailers? What don't you like? What do you want moving forward? And like, what are your predictions? Do you think that you're going to like it? Do you think you're not going to like it? Do you think it's going to do good? Do you think it's going to fail? Some sort of mixture. And let's see, when the movie comes out and once we see it, are any of our predictions correct?
I'll say that I really have no idea what to expect, because we had so many different versions of Superman throughout the years, movies and TV shows. All of them, at some point, if not most of them, had some sort of a dark feature to the movie. Like we know the Snyderverse and everything. It was dark. Even the TV show Superman and Lois, it wasn't like dark, but it was on a darker note, I'd say, more of an action TV show. And I like that. I mean, that's DC for me. It's darker. It's not, I mean, that's what differentiates Marvel from DC for me. Like, Marvel is the comedy and the cheerful, and DC is usually the dark and cinematic and serious note of movies. So I don't know what to expect with James Gunn doing a Superman movie that seems a little bit more cheerful than usual. I don't know,
I think
comedy.
a lot of people might say that's more on par with Superman, though. I see that going around, and I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
I mean, it might work because Superman is more cheerful than most DC characters. That might work. I just don't know what to expect, especially after finishing a TV show such as a good TV show such as Superman and Lois was amazing, was good. I really don't want to get disappointed. But I really don't know what to expect. What I do know is that I like Lois. I like how she is based on the trailers. I don't know what I think about Lex, to be honest.
I agree with you on that one. I agree.
But I don't know I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how it goes.
So I'm gonna kind of disagree a little bit with Tahir. I feel like Lex is actually really, really good from what I've seen in the trailers.
Okay.
Like he's being a jerk to Superman and he's fulfilling that role. Right? Lex has to be a jerk to Superman because he just wants humanity to succeed and not rely on this alien, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But I also like how they're involving crypto. I also like how they're involving like more lore and adaptations, and it's a different adaptation of the Fortress of Solitude. And I got to be honest, I did read a few articles before, and apparently the movie is killing it as we speak.
Really?
I see very mixed
like the
reviews.
Really, I have not seen mixed reviews yet.
I'll tell you when you're done. I'll tell you some of the other side that I saw.
I think Mr. Cornsweat, is that his name? David Cornsweat?
I think it's Corn Sweat or Corn Sweat. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think David Cornsweat looks very good, and he really dedicated himself to wanting to play the part as Superman, and hats off to him. I think I'm eager to see how Nathan Fillion plays as Guy Gardner, even though I don't think that role is for him. In all honesty, like that's just
I agree with you on
me.
That. Yeah.
And no discredit to Nathan Fillion. He's a phenomenal actor and voice actor. Yeah. The dude is awesome. I just don't think Guy Gardner was a very good pick for him. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, no discredit.
I don't know. Okay. I'll lead with this. Okay. I'm not the biggest Superman fan. So I want to lead with that so everybody knows where I sit to begin with. Superman wasn't growing up for me, Superman wasn't my go-to. You know what I mean? Like Not even Batman was my go-to, to be honest with you. Again, every kid loves Batman, of course, but I was always more drawn to like the X-Men, of course, and Marvel when I was growing up. It wasn't until later that I got more into DC and stuff. And then when it comes to Batman, I was always more into like the villains because they're even darker than Batman, in my opinion, some of them. And then I was always into like Justice League Dark, the magic stuff and all of that, and dead people, like Dead Man, you know what I mean? And all that kind of stuff. So for me, I'm telling you this because already Superman's not really 100% my thing. You know what I mean? But I do like it. So agreeing with you on the fact that because of the type of person I am and the things that I like, I enjoyed Zack Snyder's version of Superman, that darker aspect, because that's the type of person that I am and the things that I like. So obviously that resonated more with me. I also want to lead with, I don't really like James Gunn. So like already this is not a fit for me. And that's okay. You know what I mean? And that's okay. But I am going to go into it with an open mind. I'm not going to be a dick about it. I'm going to go into it with an open mind. But I just have to put out there the things that I'm not really a big fan of. Here comes the controversy. Guardians of the Galaxy 1, loved it. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, liked it, loved it. Somewhere in the middle of that, great movie. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, did not like it. I didn't like it. And a lot of people, they actually absolutely scold me for that because they're like, that was the best one. Opinions, man. I don't know. It's the way I feel.
I'm also going to agree with you. I thought Guardians 3 could have been a hell of a lot better. The soundtrack was garbage. Soundtrack was garbage.
I just didn't think
and that's their hallmark. It was not good.
I didn't think it was up to par with the rest of the movies. With that being said, I wholeheartedly expect James Gunn to be James Gunny in Superman. And I don't want that from Superman. I don't want the super cheesy jokes and all of that. Jokes are fine. Don't get me wrong. There's ways to do jokes. You can have the most serious movie ever and still throw some jokes in there. You know what I mean? And have it kind of laugh a little bit, but it's not the focus. I feel like this is going to be a very campy, jokey, cheesy movie. That's what I feel like. But I'm going to try my best to go into it with an open mind. I'm concerned, but also not very concerned, because even though I'm not a big James Gunn fan, the one thing that James Gunn is good at is handling a lot of characters at one time. I will give him that. He's great. Introduced us to the Guardians of the Galaxy, a lesser known group of characters, and did a phenomenal job at it. Made me a huge fan. That is true. So I'll give him his props. But I worry about certain things when it comes to dealing with all these characters in Superman, because I personally don't like the visuals of it so far. I don't like the way Green Lantern looks. I don't like the way Hawkgirl looks. They kind of nailed Mr. Terrific, in my opinion. Yeah. The Ultraman thing, I'm confused about that. If that is Ultraman.
Yeah, me too.
Did it get confirmed that that's Ultraman or not? I don't remember.
I don't know, but if that's Ultraman, or this universe is Ultraman, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm confused on where that's going. I get that what they're doing with the jackets, with the I guess what may be labeled as the JSA. We're not confirmed, I guess. Or I guess maybe just the Justice League. Who knows where they're going with this? You know,
we're all in the JSA. In the comics,
I know, and they're all a part of the Justice. Yeah. Some of them part of the Justice League. They go back and forth. You know what I mean? So it's like, who knows what James Gunn's going to do with it? But obviously, some sort of group exists here. We know that. But it looks like they are. I believe what it was, they're working for Lex, right? Is that what people were saying? That's why they got the jackets? Or is it not Lex? Is it another company? People were saying that that's why they're wearing those suits. I can't remember the name now. I had it. I was going to talk about it. Now I can't remember. I don't see James Gunn not going for accuracy here. He knows that comic fans want the accuracy, you know? So that's kind of my thoughts. I'm seeing mixed reviews. I know, Googs, you said you saw a lot of good reviews. I'm also seeing a lot of good reviews too. But the mixed reviews are kind of on par with my fears, which is campy, cheesy, full of jokes, not very, a little bit more seriousness is what the bad reviews are saying, I guess you could say, and not very developed. I saw on the side characters, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because it's a Superman movie, so our focus is on Superman, right? So I don't know how developed we want the side characters to be. It's not their movie, right? So I don't know. I'm also kind of like a little bit on you. I don't know what to expect from this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And I feel like after you see the movie, it'll scratch that itch that you're trying to scratch. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it'll definitely figure out where you want to go with your opinion on the Superman movie. Me, I'm a Marvel guy.
Yeah, I'm more of a Marvel guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more of a Marvel guy. I like a little bit of DC. I don't like every aspect of DC. Mm-hmm. If it were me, in Injustice 2, my practice dummy was Superman. So it just really didn't matter to me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. My practice dummy. Yeah. And I mean, this also will kickstart. I wanted to talk more about like the DCU in general, but we are running short on time. So, it is, and I know you don't really have too much to add to it anyway. So maybe I'll save it for another episode with two other people,
Sure.
This also will kickstart James Gunn's DCU, so there's a lot riding on it. Aside from just Superman in general, this is our real first forte into what James Gunn's going to do with this universe. Let's see how it goes. You know?
But I think he did a good job with Peacemaker.
Oh yeah, Peacemaker. I forgot about that.
But it's not really a part of the universe. It's a different.
He says it is.
Yeah, it is.
He says Peacemaker is a part of his DCU.
Oh.
Yeah, and that Peacemaker season 2, 3. What are we on? I don't know.
Now it's gonna be
two.
He said season 2 will explain everything and how it all ties in, and because I remember at the end of Peacemaker they showed the Justice League.
The Justice Society.
No, Justice League. They showed
it was the Justice League with like Aquaman,
Flash,
right.
Superman, and it was Henry Cavill, but they never showed his face, but it was implied. You know what I mean? Because they didn't really know what was going on with that at the time of shooting.
Right, I remember now, yeah.
James Gunn mentioned that in like a Q&A, and he got asked about it, and he said, everything will be explained. It'll all be explained.
Okay, now I'm
But Peacemaker
interested.
is a part of this universe that he's building. So we'll see where it goes. I appreciate you guys for being here. I appreciate you having this conversation with me. It's always cool to switch it up and do something different. I really wanted to, for anybody watching right now, for any previous guests that I've had on, I really want to do this with you guys, and have two people that haven't been on before, this exact format that you just saw. So if that sounds like something you want to do, even if it doesn't happen for a couple months or whatever, please, feel free to also hit me up. Previous guests, if something you want to do, feel free to hit me up and say, hey, that's something that I want to do. And, I have knowledge on this and I would really love to talk about that. So if you ever have an idea for an episode like this, that would be right up my forte. I got a lot of knowledge about it. I got a lot that I would say, because I'm also kind of just picking and choosing people at random. You know what I mean? So if, for instance, you're like, oh, bro, I agree with you. I got a lot to say about Justice League Dark. We could talk about that all day. Hit me up and let me know that so I can keep that in the vault and keep you in mind for the future when I do another 2-episode situation like this, like 2-people episode. You know what I mean? So the Googanator, ladies and gentlemen, please go follow Googs on Instagram at the Googanator. Please follow Paper Moon Cosplay on Instagram at Paper Moon Cosplay. And to everybody tuning in right now, thank you for watching, for liking, for commenting, for sharing, for doing all those beautiful things that you do over on youtube.com/Side Project Podcast. When you go down, you hit the big red subscribe button. When you do, you get 100 sexy project points, and you hit it, and it goes, and you get all those project points. You save them for later. I don't know what we're doing. It's been like 5 years. We're still trying to figure out what we're doing with those project points. Thank you for listening and watching on Spotify, because the videos are available on Spotify as well. When you follow and you rate, you do all the things you do on Spotify. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. If you're looking for me, you can find me on Instagram at IGHatesChazzy. That is my personal. And if you're looking for the podcast as a whole, you can find it on Instagram at Side Project Podcast. Remember, that's project with a K. Side Project merch available on the Side Project merch store via sideprojectpodcast.com. For me, for Paper Moon Cosplay, for the Googanator, we are, get out of my frame, out of here.